There are a few new relief programs that the Biden administration has just sent out. They're sending out more stimulus relief money right now to many people that are struggling. Lawmakers are interested in extending and boosting stimulus benefits to help people during the crisis. So, continue watching this video to find out the latest stimulus news, stimulus check, and Social Security information. You folks don't want to miss out on this very important news.
America is back to work. Today we learned that in January our economy created 467,000 jobs. But that's not all. We learned that job growth in November and December over last year was revised up.
So the federal government has approved emergency allotments every month since March 2020, and according to government officials, this gives SNAP recipients additional support during the crisis. The great news is that in February, hundreds of thousands of SNAP households will receive millions of dollars. Emergency allotments will be available on February 11th for current SNAP households. New SNAP households will receive the emergency allotments for February 26th or March 2nd. Now, it's important to remember that these benefit deposit dates may vary depending on your very state government. Folks, in addition to this, the SNAP benefits provide nutritional assistance to children and families, the elderly, disabled, unemployed, and also working families.
Warner's report caps off my first year as president. And over that period, our economy created 6.6 million jobs.
Now, for those of you waiting for his fourth stimulus package, please know that the Congress has already begun negotiations on this. Yes, everybody, it's true. Congress is working on a fourth stimulus check, and you should expect to receive it sooner than later. So a group of Senate lawmakers, including both Democrats and Republicans, are discussing the possibility of another economic stimulus package amid the crisis. One Democratic senator from Maryland, for instance, and a Republican senator from Mississippi held conversations with people on additional relief for Americans and several businesses that continue to be impacted by the crisis. The discussions come after Congress just passed President Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus relief package, which included $1,400 stimulus checks. For many Americans, money for states and cities, schools, and small businesses. It also included an increase in food stamp benefits, folks. Now, the discussions come after Congress passed President Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus relief package, which included $1,400 stimulus checks for the people that need it the most. It also included a $30 billion restaurant revitalization fund to help support restaurants across the country facing closures in the industry that operates on thin margins. That fund ran out earlier this year as the crisis has only continued to rage on. Many owners have been forced to make some big changes, and even some people have closed their doors. For right now, states and localities are still claiming and sitting on $90 billion from the American Rescue Plan Act that was passed earlier last year. This means more relief money is still available for people to claim. And according to economists, states and cities are slated to get $150 billion more later this spring. Schools also received $120 billion from Biden's American Rescue Plan Act, much of which may not have been spent. One economist told CNBC, "We're not going to fix the crisis by that American Rescue Plan Act money. We're going to fix the crisis by the American Rescue Plan Act money getting spent, and there's a ton of good ways to spend it." One way states could help is by providing paid sick and family leave to workers now that the federal measures have expired. Plus, while some states like New York do this, more could add to these programs to help alleviate the burdens of the crisis. States could also create one-time payments for residents, and it's also possible for them to boost unemployment insurance. I personally want to see President Biden do something about the fourth stimulus check. He has to do something now that American people are still in need of financial assistance. It only makes more sense, folks. And if you guys agree with me, just leave your thoughts in the comments below.
First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, President Joe Biden, thank you both for your incredible and long-standing leadership on an issue of national importance, yes, and of personal significance to so many of us, including me. So as Dr. Biden said, my whole life I stood witness as my mother, a scientist, worked to end breast cancer. So my mother taught at public universities. She worked at a national laboratory. She published groundbreaking research. She was a peer reviewer at the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and collaborated with scientists around the world, including in France, Italy, and Canada. My mother's discoveries helped save women's lives. And I am so proud that she brought our nation and our world closer to the goal of ending breast cancer as we know it. And today we are closer than we have ever been. Since the turn of the century, we have made significant breakthroughs. We have learned so much about therapeutics and diagnostics, about public health and patient care. More people are surviving cancer. More people are enduring cancer after being diagnosed than ever before. And the death rate for cancer has fallen by about 25% over the past 20 years. In a moment, our president will lay out the new goals, ambitious goals, achievable goals for our nation to end cancer as we know it. These goals are not abstract, and they will transform lives. They will improve lives, and they will save lives. So I said at the outset that this is an issue of personal significance to so many and for me. You see, after a lifetime working to end cancer, cancer ended my mother's life. I will never forget the day that she sat my sister and me down and told us she had been diagnosed with colon cancer. It was one of the worst days of my life. And an experience that, sadly, millions and millions of people in our country have had. My mother was a fighter, all 5 feet of her. You would have thought she was 7 feet, but she was only 5. And as I cared for her during those many months, I watched her courageous fight. But after countless rounds of chemo, her body gave out. She was transferred from the hospital to hospice. And in fact, one of the last questions she asked the hospice nurse was, "Are my daughters going to be okay?" I miss my mother every day, and I carry her memory with me wherever I go. When President Biden launched his cancer moonshot 5 years ago, I, of course, thought of my mother. We may not have ended cancer as we know it, not then, but there is still so much work to do, and we are so much closer. The president's cancer moonshot demonstrates who he, our president, is. Because as you all know, out of his personal pain, he launched an initiative, this initiative, that will help countless lives, the lives of people he may never meet.